Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a Monday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. Go check out the fine jewelry, watches, and much more. Family owned and operated with the largest selection of natural diamond jewelry. You go by there before Valentine's Day, just browse. They'll hook you up with a Spurrier's Gridiron Grill gift card, believe it or not. I want to thank Mick Hubert. Hello, everybody. I'm Mick Hubert for introducing our program today. And we'll have JC, we'll have Kevin Brockway. He'll break down the basketball. Gators win in Arkansas. I'll talk to JC about that. A lot of football to talk about. So we appreciate you joining the program today. And we're here to rock and roll. JC, you're on the Titan line, courtesy of Comfort Tent. Looks like you've been to Waffle House a few times.
Too many, but I love going, but it's not the most healthy thing in the morning for my new diet. There's no question that I gained weight on this trip. As I sat on my ass and watched football in the Beau Rivage sports book. Lots of football, watched the Gator basketball game. You know, not one moment in that basketball game was I concerned that Florida was not going to win. And the whole perception of Gator basketball, especially with people who go to these sports places and bet on games, they love the Florida Gators. And on Saturday, when Florida won that game with Arkansas, it seemed like everybody in the entire place, and there was a couple hundred people in there at least. Man, they all had the Gators in the parlay, and everybody loves Florida now, and they're going to the Final Four, and it's crazy. But I'm in Mississippi, and they are talking about Florida basketball. They're talking about Alabama basketball. They're talking about Mississippi State basketball. Tough night for the Bulldogs. Great game with Kentucky in front of a packed house at Humphrey Coliseum, which you do not get much unless it's graduation. And even then, you don't get a packed house there. And we had a great weekend of basketball and obviously football. The college football playoff final is now set, QB. You and I, again, we miss on this Ohio State pick. What is wrong with us?
We did.
Yeah, well, we both took Texas.
Well, here's the thing. Texas had their chances. Let's be honest.
They did.
They had first and goal from the 1 yard line to tie the ball game.
That's
and
correct.
Steve Sarkisian, regardless, people have been bashing him and well-deserved, but he's still one of the greatest play callers in all of football. He will – that series will haunt him the rest of his life. No other way to put it.
I know. You're right. And it was what is this pitch? Sweet.
Well, here's what happened. Here's what happened, because I know the general public is like, you're a moron for doing that. Okay. Ohio State statistically has had a great goal line defense this year. They ran off tackle, stuffed. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does Sarkisian think? We're fast. They got a lot of guys in the box. We can leverage them and run to the pylon. Their guy, I think it was Caleb Downs, made a phenomenal play. Tip your hat. It was a bad play call. It was a bad play call because it didn't work.
Yeah, but Kimmy, I still didn't like it. I didn't
have a problem with it. I just look, as a play caller, you're trying to, okay, they're thinking we're going to do this, so we got to try to do that. Okay. That's what play calling is.
Right.
It didn't work, and it backfired, and it cost him, and I promise you it will haunt him forever. He will go in the all season and say, I'll learn from that. That play will, that series will just not destroy him. I mean, he's been through a lot, but he's a great coach. But it will bother him, I should say, for many, many years to come.
And Sawyer,
it's a shame.
I mean, Sawyer is unblockable, it seems these days, and he was just there at the right time. Ball comes flying out, game over, and everybody's acting like Ohio State won by 2 touchdowns, which they did, but that game was not a 2-touchdown game. It was close. And those of us who took the 6 points were bemoaning the night after the Buckeyes once again cover. They are 9.5-point favorites, and we'll talk about this throughout the latter part of the week, I'm sure, with Notre Dame. But they're big favorites. The line is slipping; it's down to 8. We'll talk about that game.
I don't see how Notre Dame can keep that game close.
I don't either.
They have no firepower on offense at all. So we'll see. The NFL games were pretty good. I wanted to go back to the Gator basketball.
Okay.
I mentioned, it's going to be hard to win on the road. There's been some teams that win on the road. Tennessee won on the road. Kentucky won on the road. But if you lose at home in this league, it's almost like, JC, when you par a par 5 in golf.
Right. That's losing a stroke to the field.
Yes. That's kind of what it is. And, it's not like bad teams won on the road. I mean, these are good teams that are winning on the road, but you cannot, if you're a solid team like Mississippi State, you cannot lose that game to Kentucky. I mean, it was a shootout. It was a great game. Mississippi State's very good, but you're like losing strokes to the field, so to speak. But anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Well, we had a couple road teams win on, here recently, and I think you're seeing
Tennessee and Florida.
Tennessee and Florida did win.
Kentucky won. Alabama
won at Texas A&M. Wade Taylor not in for A&M. That's a good team too. Man,
Buzz Williams, I think, is a tremendous basketball coach.
You love that guy.
I do like him, but it is just fascinating to me how his teams literally shoot like JC, but they're always in the game. You know what? They never can shoot the basketball very well.
Well, they're extremely athletic, right? As you would like.
Oh yeah, they're always going to lead the nation in offensive rebounds and things of that nature. But
they can play. The league is incredible. It's very competitive. If I'm at Arkansas, I'm a little panicky right now as they start 0-3 with 2 home losses of those 3 games. I'm a little panicky there in Arkansas, but Florida, man, I just tell you, the way they have been playing here recently, it's very exciting, and the fact that people are noticing. Just not in Gainesville where we are, just out there. We're out there, and folks have definitely gotten their eye on the Florida Gators. It's good to see. The Gators are going to be a factor this year. I love that.
Chad wants to know on Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law. What am I mixing in my water bottle?
Yeah.
You know what this is, JC?
No, this looks like some sort of electrolyte drink you got.
Well, I'm using an extra bottle from Propel, but it's Celsius.
Celsius is good. I've got muscle milk. I was warned
because you're very muscular.
Well, I was warned also not to overdrink this because of the calcium and how you can get kidney stones. I did not know such a thing. I feel pretty good about it. I do want to shout out
between muscle milk and your waffles, you'll be in good shape.
Nothing like sugar, carbs, and protein. Oh
yeah.
God! I'm ready to get back to some home cooking though. I need to get back to Gainesville, get my dog, and get on the program. I gained weight this weekend.
I'm sure you did.
Yes.
J&J Trucking on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Shane, how do players transfer to Florida and then a month later there's talks about them leaving? Don't you think the NIL deal that they should have a contract with it for them to play? Yeah, I think you got to get to contracts. But we'll talk to Kevin Brockway because I don't follow this stuff. But supposedly the backup quarterback that we have coming from Charlotte to back up DJ reportedly now is back in the portal because he thought he was going to have a chance to compete for the starting job.
I guess he didn't watch any Florida football this year, did he?
I mean, first of all, you don't even have to watch Florida football. I mean, you would think if School X is talking to you, you understand the roster, right?
And what they want you to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe all that's true. Now, a lot of things on Twitter now are not true, but we'll ask Kevin Brockway. I'm sure he knows, but that's pretty bizarre to me.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief, no surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. We got JC on the Titan MRI hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp.
Titan MRI.
Yeah.
I'm using them next Monday.
It's actually Titan MRI and imaging now, but that's hard to say, but we'll try to throw it out there.
Well, I'll be getting some imaging next Monday. So.
All right, so JC, the National Football League.
Yeah.
Do you think the committee made a mistake by putting the Steelers in? By putting the Broncos in? Can I go on and on? How about the Chargers? Should they have been selected to the playoffs?
I mean, yeah, oh boy. I mean, how do you think yeah, I mean, exactly. We all knew Green Bay had nothing left. Their injuries overtook them, and that was a sloppy game yesterday. I was surprised by Houston, but boy, they got healthy on the defensive back end, and they were really good, really on Herbert, who, I think going into the game for the Chargers, he had thrown 3 interceptions the whole season. And even though maybe one or two weren't his fault because they were right through the hands or tipped, he threw four, and Houston's on their way to Kansas City. Houston can be tricky because of their defense. They've got some good players, and they're dangerous on defense.
Their quarterback's good too.
And CJ's good, and if he's got some weapons like Nixon and Collins and some of those guys, they may have a shot to keep that.
You know what impressed me about that game, and I think I saw most of the second half. No, wait, that game was I can't remember what day that game was on.
That was the first game. That was the first game on Saturday.
Yeah, it started at 4 o'clock. So yeah, I did see most of it. What surprised me the most is the Texans said, you know what? Buckle your chin straps. We're running Joe Mixon downhill, and he was just plowing through that vaunted Chargers defense. That's surprised me the most.
Yeah, that's true. And they sent Will Anderson on some stunts to get in there and wreak havoc. And again, being healthy really matters. And so it helped them. And then, of course, no surprise in the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. Pittsburgh, again, the committee should not have picked them.
No, that team plays offense so bad.
It was really agonizing to watch. Easy money won on Baltimore the whole night. First half, game total, this, that, game. And then, of course, yesterday, Denver jumps out to a 7-point lead. Just all it did was get Buffalo awake at the early hour at noon for the Bills. And then Josh Allen went to work. And then we saw Green Bay. They have no healthy players. It's hard to watch. And Philadelphia really didn't have to play well. What I did think was interesting was A.J. Brown getting in some reading
the book on the sideline.
Reading a book, having a good time on the sideline in his own quiet space while there's a freaking playoff game going on. I mean, do you like guys like that on your team in your locker room, QB, or do you think it's just a show? What do you think about that kind of thing?
It's probably a show, but he's a little different, I think. I played with Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, and he was a different dude, but maybe the most talented guy I ever played with in my 14 years. Okay. Some guys are just different, man. I don't know what the whole book thing was. I've never seen that.
He literally had a book open.
No, I saw it. They even talked about it, the broadcaster.
He just seems so disinterested in what was happening out there. At some point, I was starting to wonder if Hurts had still had these symptoms of a concussion because he looked a little foggy at times. But, I mean, they were never in danger in that case.
No, speaking of concussions, Andy's question on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, how rare is it that the Guardian cap did not prevent the concussion for the Packers' Romeo Dobbs? Well, first of all, guys, pretty much everybody wears them in today's football in practice. Everybody but the quarterback because they're never banging. There's not a whole lot of banging in practices anyway.
Yeah.
And then there's a handful of guys that have worn it in the NFL. I know an offensive lineman for the Bucs wears it. Dobbs wears it because of his concussion. It's not preventable. There's nothing. It's just like wearing a helmet does not prevent head injuries. It's supposed to help. When you get hit hard in the head, man, it doesn't matter what the hell you're wearing.
I think he's got a history of I don't know how much longer that guy can do it, man. I mean, he's had a history of concussions, and all he did was go up for a pass, he fell, and that was it for him. I don't know, man. If I had a brain that was getting its eggs scrambled on a consistent basis, season in and season out, I'd start thinking about my longevity. So I don't know. Romeo Dobbs, too bad. But the whole team was just every other player guy was limping off the field. It was just not, it was kind of hard to watch. And then last night I got angry at Tampa Bay. And, Washington, Jaden Daniels, QB, you saw some of those passes he threw last night down the sideline on those routes?
Great player, man.
God, is he accurate? I mean, he's not just accurate for a rookie. He is accurate for just a player that plays the position.
He's just a smooth operator, man.
Woo.
When he runs the ball,
doesn't he look like he's running?
He just glides.
He doesn't even look like he's running. Yeah, he glides. That's right.
Yeah. So Brent says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello, speaking of concussions, I bet there's a lot today after Baker Mayfield choked again. Franchise QB my butt. Look,
Well,
I think Baker had an unbelievable year.
he had an unbelievable year. Two big mistakes there at the end that cost them the fumble on deep in their own territory, which was just a mishandling of the ball. But then the one that got me was at the end, QB, when they're going down there to take the lead. They're down 3, and it's 2nd and 1. Okay, he sneaks it short, so it's 3rd and a half, and they mess up the snap count, and nobody's on the right page. And here we are playing the 18th game of the year, and something like that costs you a playoff game and your season, because they ended up getting a field goal. And everybody in Tampa, I was being texted by my youngest son who was at the game at the Pirate Ship, everybody in the stadium knew that Daniels and Washington was going to drive down that damn field and win the football game. And that is exactly what they did. It was so profound.
Well, last time I checked, the Bucks do have a defense.
Well,
they could stop the opposing team.
I got to be honest with you. I can't blame the defense last night. I think the offense missed opportunities last night.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. And they lost. It's over.
Yeah.
Off to Detroit with Washington. And
text on the Tighten Up More text line from Daryl says, good morning, guys. Good road win for the Gators Saturday. Any road win is valuable in the conference. JC, did you ever own a Catholics versus convicts hat or shirt?
No, because, I didn't have as much interest in the Miami Hurricanes back then, except.
Well, yeah, but you're a Catholic, so he's talking about Notre Dame, I guess.
Okay. I know. I get it. I know. It was Notre Dame. Yeah. Not really. Those two teams, as an Alabama fan, you didn't think about it.
JC, let me ask you this. Since you're Catholic, do all Catholics like Notre Dame?
Absolutely not. And let's also remember there's another great Catholic school that never
Boston
gets
College.
Is exactly right. And Boston College.
What about Villanova?
I mean, they don't play football in the same league or same division, but sure, they're Catholic too. But Notre Dame is we all know about Notre Dame, but folks, Notre Dame hasn't been relevant in so long. I mean, when was the last time? What was it? The 80s QB, and then in the 2012 they get blown out in the championship game at Alabama. They are a great story this year. We're all happy for. It's so ironic that Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU to have a chance to play for the national title. And wouldn't you know, the school he left is playing for the national title. Isn't that great? And LSU fans are still pissed at Brian Kelly. They can't get happy. I'm sitting at a blackjack table. Guys raising hell because the lady next to him did not pull on a 15 when the dealer showed a 5. And she's sitting there on 14, and she held. And the LSU guy at the end of the table was about to lose his mind. My God!
You told her to double, JC. Why didn't you tell her to double?
Well, no. She had
not
14.
Double. Yeah, double.
Well, she had 14. The dealer had a 5 showing.
Yeah, you double that
on a 14. The soft 14 you do, but on 10-4, I think you just stay.
No, she had 5, so she has to hit. You definitely double that.
No, QB. The player had a 14.
Right.
The dealer had a 5 showing. The
right.
player's not going to bust.
You double that because if you get something small, you're banking on her to bust.
Right. That's why you don't pull a card, QB. Remember, she has 14. What the hell?
If she had 7 or QB, you double that.
She had 14. She had a 10 and a 4. You hold.
Okay. We'll talk about this off the air.
Think about it.
I am thinking about it.
We both know how to play the game.
Because she has to hit.
No, she does not have to hit. She's the player. She's not the
player. I'm losing my mind. God,
QB, you know how to play this game. Just like
I have way too much. I'm very tired from the weekend. Playing too much golf, very competitive, stressful golf.
Understood. Okay, you're okay, QB. Yes, on an ace 3. On an ace 3, yes, you double. But on a king 4, you cannot pull a card when she's sitting on a 5 showing. The LSU guy next to her lost his ever-loving mind, and that got a conversation, which, by the way, ironically, he had 7 split, and he had – let me finish. This is a great story. He had 7s. He split them, had money all out there, $100 chips everywhere, and then he doubled on an 11, pulled an ace. He was really irritated. She holds on a 14. The dealer has a 5. She actually won the hand because the dealer the dealer busted, and he gets his money, and he's still yelling at her. And I said, dude, the right team won. We'll give her a break. She's learning the game. Anyway, LSU fans are frustrated, I guess, is the point of my story here. And it was just amazing. And I just, but QB, I know you know the game. You know the
Yeah, I know how to. But I do double a lot whenever she has to. When you know she has to hit. I'm too tired right now. That's why I didn't get to see the second
I'm
half of
the
the
one in
football game.
Central Time, QB. You're the one in Eastern
But
Time.
JC, you were not playing competitive, stressful golf for 3 straight days against 20 guys. Okay.
Oh, I was betting on football games. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's not stressful.
No.
This text says, "I'd love to see Buffalo and Minnesota in the Super Bowl. Bound to have a first timer that way."
Well, we're all hoping for Lions Bills, I think, is what everybody wants.
Minnesota's never won the Super Bowl.
They were 0-4. They
Really?
and the Bills and the Vikings are 0-4.
I didn't
And
realize Minnesota never won a Super Bowl. It
but
seemed like they played back in all those ice bowls and all that
they
stuff back in
did,
the
but
day.
they did. Tarkington could not win for them, and they're 0-4.
Poor Fran, poor Fran.
Well, how about
Electronics
poor
World.
Los Angeles? The damn place is melting away before we know it, and they're playing in Arizona tonight.
How many people do you think are going to be there?
I'd say 20,000, maybe.
Matt
20.
says, "I'm not sitting at a table." Look, I'm a very good blackjack player. I'm
Now,
just
Matt,
losing my mind right now.
yeah. QB Matt's good. Matt QB knows all of the right book moves. Matt,
Yeah.
trust me,
Because I have gotten up and raised hell and left the table because of people like they were talking or playing like I just said.
You're the LSU fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Electronics World Integration Design Specialist for smart home automation and entertainment, affordable local installation service and support. Electronicsworld.net. A few more minutes with JC, then we'll talk hoops and we'll figure out what's going on with this quarterback. If he's still a Gator, if not, I don't really know.
well, it's QB wants to hit on a 14. I mean, my God, what is the world coming to? Yeah, basketball. Oh man, so much stressful golf. My God, I don't know how you get through it.
It was one day. I mean, it was cold and windy and
cold and windy.
playing against 20 dudes, JC, and 45-degree wind, about 40 degrees and 15, 18 mile an hour winds. It was stressful.
That ain't Kapalua. Is that what you're saying?
No. A lot of people play good golf though.
Yeah, no, that's a good job by the crew out there. Very good games tomorrow night. QB, I won't be around for the show tomorrow. I'll be on Wednesday, but Missouri coming to Gainesville for a night game, a late night game. It looks like good night. Ole Miss, Alabama, 2 unbeatens. Texas A&M, Kentucky. They need Wade Taylor. If A&M can get Taylor back, they'll be on their way. But yeah, Kentucky really was impressive. They never missed a 3 against Mississippi State. Good rebound from a loss to Georgia, who, by the way, Mike White seemed to have found something at Georgia where they have put together 2 nice home wins for the Bulldogs.
So we need to pick tonight's game. Have we picked tonight's game?
The Rams, yeah, let's pick it. The Rams and the Vikings. This game is in Glendale, Arizona, as everybody knows, because of the tragedy in Los Angeles that continues to this day. Something like 20 people have lost their lives. It is absolutely sickening what has happened in California. We won't get into the reasons for what's happening, just the fact that it's happening and how bad it is. And that city will forever be changed by this. It's just horrifying. And, the Rams were saying that their facilities were in the crosshairs of some of these places. And this thing is just ridiculous at how little preparation for this. And it happened. And here they are.
I like the Vikings tonight.
2.5.
I liked them even when they were playing out in LA.
Yeah, it's a 2.5 point spread. Sam Darnold, to me, it's very simple. If the Rams can pressure Sam Darnold, they have a real chance to win this game because offensively, Matt Stafford at the line of scrimmage, as you know, is one of the best to ever play the game at the line of scrimmage with the offense. He's healthy. Kupp is healthy. Puka Nakua is healthy. Tyler Higbee's healthy. Kyron Williams is healthy. The Rams can score. So to me, it's a situation where if the Vikings have problems offensively, they will lose. But if the Vikings score, it will be a shootout. So they're laying 2.5. I'm going to take the Rams. But I think the distraction is going to be massive because the Rams, think about this. You're leaving your home and your family that's under – you talk about stress. That's what's going on in L.A. And the Rams are –
Well, you got to remember, JC, I bet out of the 50-something guys on that roster, I bet only 15 to 20 of them live out there. I bet the rest of them live over here on the East Coast or wherever they're from. They just have an apartment or a townhome.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
Real quick, Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon. What do you think of Ron Rivera as head coach of the Bears? He's in.
I mean, we got to retread him again, recycle him.
I mean, I like Chico Rivera, but
he doesn't.
If I'm them, I go find an offensive guy to coach Caleb Williams. I think they got great skill. Okay, so I got to go. I'm very, very. The dealer has a 5 showing. If I have an ace with anything else, I am doubling.
That
what
is
did you
right.
say the guy had?
King 4.
Oh yeah, you're holding. Okay,
that's right. Yeah,
because you pray for the ace, the soft whatever against the 4, 5, or 6.
Yes, and you always assume the dealer has a 10. I mean, we can have
I was thinking you said they had 15 like with an ace and a 4. I'm definitely doubling that.
That was not a soft fit 5.
I'm doubling that all day long.
Well,
let's get to this day in sports. Brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 2020 College Football National Championship in the Superdome. The Clemson Tigers get clobbered. Maybe they shouldn't have been in the playoffs. Committee screwed up because Joe Burrow and them just woodshedded them 42-15.
Yeah, Clemson had some problems in the Superdome. Kelly Bryant and the Clemson Tigers also had some problems with Deron Payne in Alabama. But Joe Burrow, LSU, good team. 2021, it was Devontae Smith and Mac Jones. Very similar numbers offensively from both those two teams in the SEC. And, everybody seems to think now the SEC is toast. It's over. It's not. It's just a year they didn't win it, folks. Don't lose your minds over this. The Big Ten's going to win it this year. Let them have one. They haven't won anything in the Big Ten since 2014, other than the Michigan team from last year. So that's two teams in 10 years out of the Big Ten. 2. And that Ohio State team just kind of found magic. They, Cardale Jones and so on, Ezekiel Elliott. But Michigan was clearly the champion last year. But that's it for the Big Ten. 2 out of they'll win this year. I'm pretty certain.
JC, real quick before we let you go, give me the rundown of who plays who in the next round of the playoffs.
In the next round, you've got Saturday's got 2 games. Sunday's got 2 games. On Saturday at 4:30, it's Texans at Chiefs, followed by Commanders at Lions on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we started off with the Rams-Vikings winner at Philadelphia at 3 o'clock. And then the nightcap will be in Buffalo with Josh Allen. If you had heard the Buffalo Mafia behind me in the casino last night, they were playing cards. They were playing poker, watched the game, betting on it, going crazy. Josh Allen is the MVP. He's so much better than that Patrick Mahomes guy. I'm so sick of that Mahomes. That Mahomes is overrated. He's got the best caller. Look at this guy. He looked like he's 300-pound guy, upstate New York, raising hell. I love the Bills. I swear to God, I'm now a Bills guy. But he's just, oh my God, though, Allen. And Belichick is the most overrated coach in history. Just think about me. I could have coached the Patriots with that damn Brady, but Belichick gets him instead. He's overrated. What did he do without Tom Brady? You tell me. You tell me, Cliff. What did he do without Brady? You tell me, Stan. What did he do? He didn't do a damn thing. He sucks. Brad Belichick's going to lose. I'm always rooting for NC State and Duke. They suck. Belichick is overrated. Josh Allen's the MVP. Patrick Mahomes sucks. They hate Mahomes. And
they're dumb.
They're winning it all this year, the Bills, according to this mafia.
I think the Bills, I love Josh Allen, but
they all got on a bender from Vero Beach, West Palm on that Sun Country. There's 20 of them in the casino because the Beau Rivage flies you literally. They do it from Gainesville, too. For a 4-day bender at the Beau Rivage, these guys were raising hell. There were Lions fans. Something about Lions fans and Bills fans. They all traveled together.
They're pretty close to one another.
They are, and they are very, very vocal right now, and good for them. It's fun. It's fun to watch. Really. I'm really kind of hoping if the Rams don't make the Super Bowl.
They see you have an acting career.
My God, these upstate New Yorkers all living in Vero. You remember when Lasorda had the Dodgers in Vero? The son of a bitch took them out of Vero and ruined Dodgertown. We had Dodgertown. I said, well, what the hell happened? Lasorda, that fat Italian, they moved them out of Vero so they could go over there to Arizona. sons of bitches. I mean, it was great. It was unbelievable. And I sat there listening to this and watching the Bills. And of course, I had money on the Bills. You do not sit back there and you pull for the other team at your own peril. And the Bills, and then we ran, let's go Buffalo, 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 Buffalo.
It's hey,
Hey, hey,
Let's
hey,
go Buffalo.
hey,
All right,
hey.
JC, we got to go. Enough of your entertainment for the day. Appreciate it. Have a safe travel back, JC. We hope you make it. That's JC. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Comfort. Don't forget, folks, today, Hoop There It Is at 10:30 with Mark Wise and Steve Russell on YouTube and Facebook Live, anywhere you can listen to all the podcast platforms. 10:30 today, Mark Wise, Steve Russell. Take a quick time out, come back, talk a little hoops with Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Bishop's Pitmaster Barbecue, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. It is PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes, with locations on Northwest 13th Street and Southwest Williston Road, and another coming to Jonesville. We're waiting on Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. We'll get him in just a second. Gator Boy on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, any update on the Rand Carthon GM position at Florida Rumor? We talked about it last week. We'll ask Kevin. Need a leader for this NIL fiasco. I don't know if it's a fiasco. I mean, I've not heard of any NIL fiascos. Again, I am really disturbed about my blackjack, because I am a by the book blackjack player, know the rules, everything, just like golf. It's by the rules, play that way, or you don't play. Kevin Brockway, we got you on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, my friend.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Shane?
I'm doing well, buddy. How are you? You doing okay? Hey,
good, hanging in there.
Yeah. Before we jump into a basketball, obviously there was some stuff on Twitter the other day about the quarterback that committed to the Gators, and I don't know if he was signed and all that stuff, from Charlotte. And, nowadays you can't believe everything you read on Twitter, but he really thought he was going to compete for the starting job. And is he back in the portal? What's the whole story with that?
Yeah, I have not heard that. All I know, Shane, is that he basically, came here, thinking that he could compete for the starting position. It's crazy. I mean, there was the other kid, right, the safety from UAB, similar situation, Maddox, where he committed and then he turned back, obviously because of Georgia offering him an offer. But I hear that he's kind of still out there to try to get him. It's been a weird portal season for Florida. I mean, you kind of expected a little more. I mean, they did get the wide receiver Sturdivant, but beyond that, it's been really quiet.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so as of right now, he is not part of the football team.
He's not signed, yeah, because I don't think Florida's announced him. Until he's signed, sealed, and delivered. Yeah, he's today's the first day of classes. Now you have ad drops until Wednesday, so I mean maybe they could work something out.
Well, I just don't know what that kid was thinking. He obviously never looked at the roster of the Gators. Uh, all right, huge win for the Gators at Bud Walton Arena. I said this to JC, Kevin. I don't know if you play golf, but losing home games in the Southeastern Conference is like parring par fives in tournaments. You're just giving strokes away. Uh, Man, what a good win. I mean, that was a desperate team. I know Calipari has a lot of issues with his ball club, but regardless, that's a hard place to play, hard place to win. You go in there, you take care of business. Really good win for Todd Golden and the crew.
Yeah, no question. And it looks like Florida got the right FAU transfer, right? Because Elijah Martin outscored John L. Davis 14-0, and I think that it was one of those games, Shane, where obviously other than that 11-4 start where they got in a little mini hole there, I thought they regrouped kind of nicely. They took a lead into halftime, and they maintained control of the game throughout the second half. Now, I mean, they kept on extending the lead from 4-10, couldn't quite put them away, but still on the road. The defense traveled this time, unlike Kentucky, which was an encouraging sign, the way they defended and obviously the way they rebound, which is ultimately the strength of this team. More second chance points, 19-6 in that game. And Alex Condon is playing really well right now. This is second straight double-double. That huge three down the stretch, obviously, with 2 minutes to go. Shane, that was kind of the dagger there. And Will Richard, too, coming up with that huge kind of hustle play. They're doing the little things right now, and it's certainly encouraging to see. They come back home for a two-game homestand here with Missouri and Texas, where, when you're in the SEC, you definitely want to hold serve at home.
Yeah, there's no question about that. You cannot lose your home games if you're a quality team. Back to football real quick. Chris on YouTube on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel says, isn't the first thing communicated between an NIL transfer and UF how they fit on your roster? One, fit, two, money. Yes. Look, I don't know what's going on with this kid. He didn't even start the whole year at Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. Are you familiar with him at all, Kevin?
Yeah, no, and he had a really good senior year in high school at St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, and obviously was a guy that because of Biff Poggi, the coach over there, had familiarity with the Baltimore area, and I believe was kind of the coach of that team before he left for Charlotte or had connections with that program. So he looked to be kind of a dual threat type. I mean, he's a big, strong kid. Who had that ability in high school. But, for him to come in here and think that he was going to, beat out DJ Lagway, I mean, that to me is, kind of surprising. I think, certainly. But, Florida's quarterback situation, you still have Tramel Jones, obviously, coming in here is DJ's backup next year. True freshman. I know that's asking a lot. You have Aiden Warner, right? And we'll see what happens with Clay Millen. I don't think he's left yet. So you've got those four guys, and maybe in the spring transfer portal, you bring in someone that maybe has a little bit of experience or potential.
Yeah, I don't know what this kid's thinking because I'm pretty sure Max Brown, the kid that transferred from here, played a lot for Charlotte this year at quarterback as well.
Yep.
Chad says here, Kevin, where would the Gator basketball team be without Tommy Houck?
Yeah, Tommy Houck is a big piece just because of his size and his ability to hustle and rebound, and really just to be part of that four-post rotation, which I believe wears opposing teams down. The fact that when you have, four-post guys you can bring in and bring out, it really helps as far as fatigue, as far as foul trouble. Yeah, Tommy is a big piece to this team. He's very well valued, and he and Denzel Aberdeen in terms of a guard that could come off the bench and you don't have much of a drop off. And the same thing with Tommy. You can bring him in at forward and you don't really have much of a drop off. And that's part of what makes this team effective right now is that they've got a good 8-man rotation where you have 3 other guys that could probably be starting a lot of other SEC teams. Very similar to what the 06-07 team had, back in the day with guys like Chris Richard coming off the bench and Walter Hodge.
Text on the Titanamore text line from George. He says, Kevin, your thoughts on how Walter Clayton Jr. has played the last couple of weeks. Do you think him having to play point guard is taking away from how he played last year?
I mean, I think it's definitely, it's the stressor. He's had 12 turnovers in 3 games. He had another one of those kind of loud turnovers late in the first half, when they were trying to run the clock down. I do think these, last couple SEC games, he's in a little bit of a shooting slump, but that's going to happen. But he also scored 33 against Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to work out okay. I don't think there's, any other viable option because, Aberdeen is kind of a combo too. I wouldn't necessarily call him a true point. And then, what are you going to do? You're going to put Will Richard and Elijah Martin off the bench. So I think you got to ride with Walter this year at the point guard. And, look at the strengths, which is the scoring ability from that position, which I believe is a big weapon. And he'll get out of it. Players go through these, funks during the course of the season where they don't shoot the ball well. He's too good of a shooter where he's going to, probably rebound from this. And he has scored from that position, certainly in the North Carolina game and a lot of other, high-level non-conference games this season.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way they built this roster, now that we're in conference play, with 4 bigs that are athletic and can move and handle the basketball, and then you got the 4 guards, man. I think any night it's going to be somebody different, right? I've been saying from day one, I think Will Richard is the piece to me because he's such a great offensive rebounder. When he's knocking down shots, this team is almost impossible to beat. But Denzel Aberdeen's kind of the guy that nobody really talks about, goes in there, does his job, and plays really well. But Kevin, looking at this team, we all thought they were pretty good, and it's still early, but this is a team that people are noticing around the country now.
Yeah, Peter Burns said he feels like they're a Final Four team. If you win the SEC, you're going to get a 1 seed. So I think that's kind of like when you look at this team now and how they're playing, that should be the goal, and they can compete. And, you take a look, you never wish injuries on anyone, right? But Janai Broome going down for Auburn, that probably weakens them a little bit. I still think Alabama is going to be there with Sears. They're a very talented team, and Nate Oates is a coach that's obviously proven that he can win SEC championships. So, you got them in the mix. You got certainly Kentucky, and what Mark Pope is doing is in the mix. Tennessee, rebounded from that loss and went on the road and beat Texas. So I think it's a 5-team race, and I think Florida is going to be right there among those 5 teams in terms of competing for this league title. You do that, you get a 1 seed, and it's kind of like same thing with the people are talking about the college football playoff and the regular season being meaningless and more meaningless now. But you play to get in, and you play for seeding also. You play to get a better position, and for Florida to if they can get one of those top 3 seeds in the NCAA tournament, that makes your path a lot easier than when you're a 7 and you're playing a 10 in the first round.
Yeah. Speaking around the league, obviously you mentioned Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. Look, Tennessee is what Tennessee is with Rick Barnes. I just don't know if they have the scoring power to keep up in today's game. I saw a quote. I don't know if you saw this, Kevin, or our listeners saw it. The kid their NIL guy from North Florida, their sharpshooter. I can't remember his name. He's got the long dreads.
Chaz Lanier, yeah.
Yeah, you know, they came out of halftime the other day. They ran a play to get him open for a three, and he didn't shoot it. You know what Rick Barnes did? Put his ass on the bench because he said, "We paid you to come here to shoot the basketball." I thought that was
Yeah, I
great.
saw that clip. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I thought it was great. But I mean, Tennessee's got to start scoring more, don't you think, to keep up with these teams in the SEC?
Well, I think that's that's the adage. Been the problem with Tennessee under Barnes is that they can grind it out and play really good defense. But yeah, I think that when you look at the tournament, and Mark Wise has pointed this out too, and I know you probably had him on as a guest. The teams with the higher offensive efficiencies are the ones that go deepest in the March. Defense can carry you to a certain point, and I think you want more of a complete team that can win in a variety of ways, but sometimes you just got to score. I mean, you take a look at Alabama last year. It was a high-powered offensive team that got to the Final Four. I think Hurley's teams at UConn are balanced. So to get to that level, you've got to have games where you put the ball in the basket and play really good offense. And I think with Tennessee, that's probably the Achilles heel. But what's amazing about them is, I mean, last year they had Dalton Knecht, who was a really go-to guy. This year they have Lanier, who's among the SEC leaders in scoring. It's just, not having enough around them. And, you got to be more balanced and have probably a few more weapons in terms of, otherwise you're easier to scout if you can just focus on one guy. And I think that's, certainly what Florida has is, if Walter Clayton has an off night, Elijah Martin can step up. If Elijah Martin has an off night, Will Richard, or you can get some scoring from Condon inside. I think you have multiple guys on that team that can get double figures in any given night, and that certainly is going to bode well for them in postseason play.
Text on the Titan Bar hotline. Frank says, Kevin, do you think Alexis has played as well as you expected?
Yeah, I was hearing some things in the preseason that he was struggling a little bit, but he has come out and he has played significantly well. Chris Dorsch is the editor of Blue Ribbon Magazine. He's based in Chattanooga, so he knew him really well, and he liked him. He thought that, certainly the toughness and the rebounding, and he's shown that as well. So he's a nice piece too. Again, when you have four post players like that, and he's accepted his role off the bench as a guy, he can finish around the basket pretty well. He's a guy that doesn't miss many bunnies. He's got a nice touch in there, I think, which helps too. And he rebounds. And you've got a team of rebounders there. You've got four guys, and that have all gotten double doubles during the course of the season. So that tells you where the focus is, where the roles are, what they know they have to do. And certainly I would say that of the four post players, Condon is the most complete of the four guys. But they're all, certainly guys that are capable of getting a double double on any given night.
Yeah. Did they ever report how serious Janai Broom's injury was?
Well, the last I heard was a high ankle sprain, but they were going to evaluate it and do an MRI on it. That's what Bruce Pearl said following Saturday's game. So, certainly that would be a huge blow to Auburn. Florida goes up there in early February, I think February 8th. So that could be a potential top 10 matchup if both teams are playing well, and could be a big game. And you'd wonder if Broom would be ready for that game. But you'd have to think certainly, unless it's dislocated or broken, that he'd be ready for March.
And it could be better that if it is broken, it may heal faster than those dang high ankle sprains sometimes. You never know.
Yeah, those are tricky, but and then don't they have what they call that tightrope surgery now that they do?
Yeah.
That, where you can recover from high ankle sprains a little quicker, so they might explore that option.
Andy says Broom had an MRI, has a non-surgical ankle sprain, but not sure of his return. All right, Kevin, before we get you out of here, boy, are there any rumblings, people upset with the Hog fans with Calipari starting 0-3?
Yeah, I think there's some disappointment in terms of the fact that he's obviously this accomplished coach that comes in with they've struggled to score in the half court. Now they're a pretty good full court. That when they get out and run, I mean, they have the athleticism, but the half court scoring hasn't been there. I watched them at the end of the Ole Miss game earlier in the week, and I said Florida could probably beat this team on the road because they have some offensive deficiencies in the half court. And I think Florida exploited that. But you got to give Florida credit too because they were locked in on the scout. I thought they defended really well throughout the course of that game to make it hard on Arkansas. And John L. Davis right now is just in a funk. Like I said before, I think that Florida got the right FAU transfer, which is kind of interesting because 2 years ago, Elijah Martin on that Final 14 probably had the better season. Last year, John L. Davis had the better season. But I remember when some people, in our chain, when we were doing the preseason, they had like John L. Davis as newcomer of the year. And I'm like, really? I'm like, he's not that much better than Elijah Martin. And it turns out now that Elijah's having a better season and he might win SEC newcomer of the year.
All right, so we got a text here on the Titan MR text line from William. He wants me to ask you this question that I threw out there last week to our listeners. And basically, Kevin, who do you think, what school in the SEC out of the 16 teams has the best combination of head football coach, head basketball coach?
That's interesting. I mean, Heupel and Barnes is pretty good, I would say. I would put that, up there in terms of, guys. I mean, off the top of my head, I would think, there was a time Oates and Saban was probably the choice, but now that DeBoer is in there and he struggled his first year, I think that takes it down a little bit of a peg as well. And listen, Golden and Napier is in the mix a little bit, especially with the way Billy finished last season and what Todd is doing in basketball. So, I think it's certainly there, but I would say that Heupel and Rick Barnes right now is probably a little more accomplished when you look at the full resume.
I threw Ole Miss out there too. I think a lot of people don't know much about Chris Beard, the kind of coach he is. What he took was it Texas Tech that he took to the Final Four and had some issues at Texas, but that Ole Miss team's pretty damn good.
No question, but you can make the counter argument that Lane hasn't made the CFP yet, and Josh Heupel has.
No. I totally agree with that. I would lean Tennessee because of the success.
Yeah,
like you said, them going to the college football playoffs this year. But kind of an interesting question that we've been throwing around here, Kevin.
And don't forget Chris Beard also. Got to a Final Four. And Rick Barnes has only been to one Final Four in his career too. So.
That's hard to believe. As long as he's been coaching, he's only been to one Final Four.
Yep, it's amazing. Yeah, and it was a long time ago. It was that Texas team with Ford, the point guard. His first name escapes me. Yeah.
I want to ask you real quick before I keep saying before we let you go, but I watched Alabama the other night against A&M, and it just A&M just fascinates me because they cannot score, but they're always in the game. But boy, the ball movement, the speed that Alabama plays with, it blows me away. Now, when they knock down shots, they're impossible to beat. Can they make a deep run, Kevin, if they shoot poorly from the three-point line?
No, because they're not good enough defensively. I think they have some deficiencies. So they're a team that they strike me as a team that's going to have to outscore teams because they're not a team that clamps down defensively. And I think that's where Florida's gotten a little better, certainly. And listen, Kentucky might turn out to be an aberration. We'll see in terms of that. That was obviously a little bit of a disappointing defensive performance. And UNC scored a lot of points off turnovers, and so did Kentucky. I mean, I think part of the defensive issues in Florida is simply taking care of the ball and not allowing those runouts. And if they can do that, I think Florida is a more complete team this season compared to last season in terms of their athletic ability and their ability to defend. And I think that could serve very well for them in March if they can kind of continue that mindset.
Kevin, good stuff as always, my friend. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and check out your podcast.
Yeah, at Kevin Brockway G1, Gatorsports.com, and Gainesville.com.
Appreciate your time, my friend. Have a good week.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Kevin Brockway join us on the Titan MR Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Dan, funny guy, Dan. You double that 14 if it's an H3 14, soft 14. You double it. Yeah, y'all are giving me crap about my blackjack. Look, I'm a textbook blackjack guy. I'm not saying I'm a pro, but I know the rules. I had a long weekend with my golf group, our end of the year tournament, and it was fun. Our guys did a great job doing it. Hope everybody enjoyed today's program. You got NFL football tonight, and we'll break that all down, and then we'll talk Gator basketball. I think tomorrow we host Missouri. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.